Welcome to Light Novel Sound, where we bring incredible light novels to life through immersive audiobooks you can enjoy for free. Today, we're diving into Weapon Seller in the World of Magic, a thrilling fantasy novel written by Snowstar and originally published on lightnovelworld.co. Meet Mark Spencer, a genius military weapon designer who was kidnapped and forced to create advanced weapons for the mafia, until he finally escaped, only to be betrayed and shot by his own comrades. But instead of dying, he wakes up in another world as Lu Zhen, armed with a powerful weapon system that lets him bring modern firepower into a realm ruled by magic. Bows and arrows? Outdated. Flying carpets? Obsolete. Fighting dragons? Why struggle when you can drop a nuclear bomb? Watch as Lu Zhen changes the balance of power in this world, introducing firearms, fighter jets, and war machines no one has ever seen before. If you enjoy this audiobook, please support the original work by reading Weapon Seller in the World of Magic on lightnovelworld.co. And if you like what we do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue bringing amazing stories to life. Now, sit back and enjoy the action. Chapter 86. Target lock is the missile's strength and its weakness. 5 minutes ago, Alina was operating the attack helicopter while Mark was busy creating the missiles. Hellfire. Type: air to surface. Grade: not applicable. Price: 10 ether crystals, low, 2 ether crystals, mid. Description: an air-to-surface missile with the capability of reducing the enemies with advanced stage, 7 circle realm or lower rank to nothing. Creation success rate: 25%. Note 1. The attack cannot be dodged once the target is locked. The missile can chase the target for 6 kilometers. Note 2. The missile cannot target the enemies who are flying 50 m or higher from the ground. Note 3. There should be a minimum altitude distance of 100 meters between the attack helicopter and the target. Hydra 70. Type: unguided. Grade: not applicable. Price: 2 ether crystals, low. Description: an unguided rocket that is capable of destroying the enemies with advanced stage, 6 circle realm or lower rank. Creation success rate: 40%. Mistral. Type: air-to-air. Grade: not applicable. Price: 2 ether crystals, low. Description: an air-to-air missile with the capability of destroying aerial targets with peak stage, 6 circle realm or lower rank. Creation success rate: 40%. Note: the attack cannot be dodged once the target is locked. The missile can chase the target for 8 kilometers. Note 2. The missile cannot target the enemies who are flying less than 100 meters above the ground. Note 3. The attack helicopter must be at least 100 meters above the ground to launch this missile. 30 mm ammo. Grade: not applicable. Price: 3 gold coins. Bulk price: 450 rounds, 1350 gold coins. Description: ammunition fired by 30 mm cannon can destroy, beginner stage, 5 circle realm or lower ranked enemies. Creation success rate: 65%. 20 mm ammo. Grade: not applicable. Price: 2 gold coins. Bulk price: 250 rounds, 500 gold coins. Description: ammunition fired by a 20 mm cannon pod can destroy, intermediate stage, 4 circle realm or lower ranked enemies. Creation success rate: 70%. Ding! Hydra 70 has been successfully created. 2 ether crystals, low, were added to the debt. Ding! You failed to create Hydra 70 rocket. 2 ether crystals, low, were added to the debt. Ding! You failed to create Hydra 70. 2 ether crystals, low, were added to the debt. Okay, I guess I have enough. Mark stopped creating the ammo and missiles as he felt the debt has been raised too much. Apart from the fully loaded attack helicopter, Mark possessed about 1,000 rounds of 30 mm ammo, 5,000 rounds of 20 mm ammo, 10 Mistral missiles, 50 Hydra 70 rockets, 20 Hellfire missiles in his inventory. It landed him with an additional debt of 24,560 gold coins and 974 ether crystals, low. However, Mark didn't stop there. He went on to create 100 120mm ammo adding to the previous 48, then another 100 of 40mm grenades and 1,000 ammo of 12.7mm for the machine gun. In the end, the overall debt is totaled to 1,774 ether crystals, low, and 30,433 gold coins. And yet, Mark didn't hesitate to store all these in his inventory because he didn't know when the next emergency quest would appear again. So, he used that 1 hour of travel to the fullest without resting a bit. Of course, the main reason he was able to do that is because of the mass wealth he gathered in the past few days. By the time the attack helicopter reached the outskirts of the city, he was done with it and waiting to launch. Of course, to use the full capacity of the attack helicopter, 2 members of the crew are needed. From the rear chamber, Mark only had the controls of the armaments in the inner hardpoint, i.e. 20mm autocannon pod, and 4 Hellfire missiles. The remaining 3 are controlled by the pilot, sitting in the front chamber, i.e. Alina. As he reached the city entrance, Mark was looking down through the window. The aerial view is indeed amazing. It's been a while since he last saw a city from a plane. So, he felt a little bit of nostalgia before Alina informed him. "Big brother, we are in the 8-kilometer range." Taking a deep breath, Mark gave a nod. "Fire Hydra 70 as a warning shot. Don't aim for killing. Just aim at the roof." "Roger." Alina clicked on the button, nearby the controllers, and fired an unguided rocket at the Sway clan's headquarters. The rocket was fired from its pod and cut through the air with the speed of Mach 2.2. In just 11 seconds, it hit the roof of the mansion, blowing up a part of the ceiling. Mark watched it through the screens before him. Like the battle tank, the helicopter was also installed with cameras everywhere. So, he had a 360-degree view at all times with a few blind spots, of course. Looking at the flames, he nodded with satisfaction, but as the flames died within just a couple of seconds, he mumbled in seriousness, "It looks like they are prepared." "Well, it doesn't matter." He then ordered Alina to fly straight towards the mansion and wait for everyone to come out. After a few minutes, as the helicopter entered the clan district, Alina informed Mark about the incoming arrow with the power of the 6-circle realm, advanced stage, to which the latter replied to fire the unguided rocket while watching the screen. Little did he expect Alina's aim was so precise. The rocket perfectly struck the arrow, followed by causing an explosion and blasting away the attacker standing on the roof. "Okay, now, where is this so-called the backbone of Sway clan?" Mark focused on the screens and wondered. He asked, "Alina, can you scan around while staying in the vehicle?" "Yes, big brother." Alina nodded and instantly scanned the whole clan district. Stopping at the destination, 200 meters above the mansion, she spoke, "A 7-circle realm expert is in the mansion. Should I blow the entire building?" "No, there's no need." Mark was against the idea as he wasn't here to take revenge but to extort the money. He only needed to push them to the edge of the cliff but shouldn't proceed to throw them down below. He further said in the MIC, "We have a speaker facility in this vehicle, right? I will first talk to them." Mark looked at the control system before him. At the end of the wire that is attached to the control system, there are 2 buttons. The blue one, on the left, indicated intercom and the green one, on the right side, indicated speaker. He pressed on the green one. A giant megaphone appeared from below the helicopter. He cleared his throat and spoke, "Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Lu Zhen and I'm in no way had come here in peace. Your elder named Sui Haining is a hostage of mine. I'll only say this once, so, listen carefully. I'm going to throw him down below along with a letter. After you take him away, then, I will start to descend. I don't want anyone 200 meters nearby me. Then, you will have 30 minutes to discuss and give a reply that you decided. Those who don't comply with these simple rules of mine will face death. This is my first and last warning. Don't blame me later as it's on your ignorance and arrogance." Mark could see, several people are looking at the helicopter, but he wasn't even sure whether the sound get to them or not. After all, there is a distance between them and the rotor blade sound can interfere. Not to mention, due to the noise-cancelling feature, he didn't even hear his voice from the speaker. In the end, he betted on their superior listening abilities and proceeded to open the door, pushing the unconscious elder out of the vehicle. However, he underestimated the Sui clan. Just as he pushed down the elder and was about to close the door, a blur of an arrow appeared in his sight. Mark quickly closed the door. The lightning arrow struck it but failed to pierce. It only cracked the glass. Ding! The durability of attack helicopter EC-665 has been reduced by 1%. Fuck! Mark let out a curse and leaned his head to the back. Sweat poured down his forehead, almost instantly, and his body started to shiver due to the fear. Close to the death. In the next second, he was filled with rage. I'll kill that motherfucker that tried to ambush me. Mark took a closer look at the screen. On the roof of the mansion, a young man was conjuring up another arrow. It was just an ether arrow without any attribute. It's you, bastard. Die. Mark took the control stick and pressed the red button. The system asked for a target. With the help of a control stick, he locked onto him. Ding! Target has been locked. One of the 4 Hellfire missiles was launched. Since it has a target lock feature, the helicopter's direction didn't matter. It made a U-turn as soon as it was fired and flew towards Sui Weixing. The latter's eyes widened upon spotting the incoming projectile. He fired the arrow. With a speed of 1.3 Mach, the Hellfire missile was indeed slower compared to Hydra 70. However, the distance between them is also less. So, it didn't take long for the missile to reach its target. However, just when it was only 10 meters away from Sui Weixing, the latter's arrow obstructed its path. It's where its strength of locking the target turned into a weakness. As the arrow isn't its target, the missile tried to dodge it by making an upward trajectory. But, it was then Sui Weixing outsmarted the system. Explode! Boom! The arrow that was supposed to go past the missile suddenly exploded in mid-air. Ding! Hellfire missile sensors were damaged. Connection is severed with the system. What? Mark's eyes are widened in shock. How is that possible? He was betting everything on this missile but didn't expect it can be stopped too. However, all is not lost. The missile was sure deflected from its original path, but it wasn't destroyed. The missile eventually went past the mansion but hit a tower, located 500 meters away. It was where the prisoners are kept. The whole tower was exploded into million pieces, killing everyone in it. The elders as well as the normal clan members were stupefied for a moment to see the range of the explosion. Sui Weixing sighed in relief, thank goodness. It didn't hit me. Or else, along with me, the whole mansion would have been exploded. He proceeded to take out a talisman and burn it. Meanwhile, Mark, who was disappointed by the failed attack, didn't hesitate to fire another at the target. He was determined to kill the person that ambushed him. Another Hellfire missile took a U-turn just like before and planned to take out the target. Shit! Sui Weixing hurriedly conjured another arrow to deflect it again. But, he was slow. The missile was already in front of him and he has yet to release the arrow. His heartbeat spiked to the maximum. It was at that moment, a figure in white robes and long white hair appeared before him. Boom! Both of them were blasted away while reducing the mansion into nothing. Chapter 87, Extorting a 6-digit amount from the Sui clan. The talisman that was burned by Sui Weixing is called Forget-Me-Not, which was given to him by the Grand Elder when this future heir turned 21. The specialty of this talisman is that as long as is in 10,000 kilometers range from the Grand Elder, the latter could teleport to him in an instant to rescue him from the possible life-threatening situation. After the explosion of the prison tower, Sui Weixing understood that he wasn't a match for the enemy. Even if he could save himself, he felt like his clan members will perish instead. That's why he didn't hesitate to summon his granduncle. As soon as the talisman at Sui Weixing's hands turned into nothing, Another talisman rushed out of Sui Rong's storage card and created a portal. He walked into it and teleported right before his grandnephew, only for him to be struck by the Hellfire missile and blasted away together. Both of them fell on the ground, with the old man perfectly managing to shield his grandnephew with his body. Sui Weisheng was completely unharmed, but the old man was having fire burns all over his body. Despite that, he wasn't conscious and stood on his own feet. The ether energy rushed out to heal his injuries. This is the specialty of Seven Circle Realm experts. Their ether energy can also heal their injuries. Grand Elder. Young Lord Weisheng. The elders and the other clan members watching from the ground also got blasted away, but only had light injuries as they were standing away from the mansion. 4 guards caught up in the explosion and died. An elder who caught the falling Sui Haining and was about to hand it over to the guards was also blasted away. He was fine, but the guards were heavily injured. Meanwhile, Sui clan's patriarch, who was hiding in the mansion along with an elder, was also hit by the deadly explosion, and their bodies were also seen on the ground. The elder was alive but is unconscious, with all of his body heavily injured. Surprisingly, the fatty patriarch, who was only at 4 circle realms, survived the explosion and is perfectly fine. It's all because of the armor he equipped at the last minute. His torso armor was a semi-divine weapon that created a barrier around himself and blocked the incoming attack. The staff members working in the mansion weren't spared either. Thankfully for Sui Weisheng, his mother and aunt escaped successfully. 4 of the elders who were ordered to erect a barrier didn't get the time to do it, and the mansion explosion forced them to return right away. The remaining 2 elders rushed towards the Grand Elder while the helicopter started to hover around the place. As Sui Rong stood up on his feet and angrily stared at the attack helicopter, Mark's voice was once heard from the giant megaphone. "So, I guess, by now, all of you must have understood the consequences of trying to break the rules I have. That Mr. over there, never try to ambush me again. This time, I will erase your whole clan." Mark was indeed surprised by the effect of the missile. He felt the missiles given by the system are far powerful than the ones he was acquainted with in his previous life. But then again, he also realized that he can't push them far. Killing them won't fulfill his quest, and neither can he extort the money. So, let go of his grudge and just reduce the time limit. An elder named Sui Chun, who was with Sui Haining, hurriedly searched his clothes. He found a scroll. Abandoning him on the ground, he dashed towards the old man and handed it, "Grand Elder." But Sui Weisheng took it and read the letter. A deep frown appeared on his face as he said, "Grand Elder, he mentioned that you ordered Elder Haining to capture them so that the girl would be my bride. And then, the elder resorted to threats about making her a prostitute and him a slave. Lu Zhen, in his opinion, was returning the favor for threatening. For our survival, he demanded 2 things. What are they?" The old man asked him calmly. His sight is still fixed on the hovering helicopter to get ready for the next attack. Sui Weisheng looked at his granduncle in surprise. The old man's reaction clearly states that it is true. But Sui Weisheng is a celibate, and this is why he hadn't married until now. This wasn't a secret either. Then, why did this old man is trying to get him married? Sui Weisheng was a little bit disappointed, but he knew that now is not the time to think about such useless things. He answered, "His first demand is to free all the slaves at our crystal mine and gold mine. If we want to work them, he demanded to elevate their status to the servants with proper wages and proper accommodation." Sui Rong narrowed his eyes. He felt this demand is nonsense. Slavery is, after all, a normal thing in the Phoenix Empire. More importantly, what did Lu Zhen would gain from freeing those slaves? He wondered. But, still, maintaining his calmness, he asked, "What is the second demand?" Almost crushing the letter, Sui Weisheng answered with a look of frustration, 100,000 gold coins. No ether crystals. Only gold. 100,000? Has he gotten mad? Sui Rong lost his coolness for a moment. From the helicopter, Mark was observing their expressions. He let out a grin as he saw the old man destroy the scroll in anger, It looks like they were angry. He picked up the MIC and said, "That old man over there, considering how you survived my missile, I believe you are the Grand Elder that gave the order to capture us. So, here's the deal. Either you pay the compensation or face the wrath. I still have a lot of missiles in my arsenal, you know." How dare he threaten us, the mighty Sui clan? The Grand Elder clenched his fist in anger. He spits out a mouthful of blood and realized the pain left by his injuries once again. Almost 30% of his injuries were healed, but only half of his either energy was left. So, if he wanted to fight, then he can't bother about injuries and vice versa. But what if he gets injured again? Then there would be no comeback. Grand Elder, give him what he wants. Elder Sui Chun pleaded to him. He was genuinely afraid of what Mark can do. We know nothing about this weapon. Sui Weisheng also pitched in. He supported the elder. Earlier when I attacked him, my arrow only left a scratch on that thing. I think it's wise to fulfill his demands. 100,000 is indeed a large amount, but we can recover our losses within a few weeks. Moreover, the Emperor won't sit by and watch when two major clans were attacked by the same person. In front of greater power, all that confidence that he displayed during the earlier meeting has disappeared. Now, Sui Weisheng wanted to use their connections with the Emperor to punish Mark. "Father!" A loud scream was then heard from behind them. The fatty patriarch was seen running towards him. What a waste of semi-divine armor! The elders couldn't help curse inwardly. They felt like he should have been dead. Sui Rong sighed in relief that his only remaining son is still alive. He then glanced at the helicopter. "Fine, you win, Lu Zhen, but Sui clan will have its revenge for sure." Nearly 20 minutes later, the helicopter landed on the ground, but Mark didn't come out for his safety. Alina was the one who stepped out and received a pouch. After confirming the amount, she spoke, "Just a friendly reminder since you made my master rich. I hope you won't go back on your words, for you took an oath with heavens as the witness. Not only do you lose your ether, but a curse will also befall your whole clan if you break the oath in the future. Although your oath only covered those 2 mines, it's really better if the Sui clan abolish slavery altogether. This way neither you nor your future generations will be tempted." The helicopter took off from the Sui clan and flew towards the wilderness, leaving behind an enraged old man. "Weisheng." "Yes, Grand Elder?" "Contact Mount Hua sect for me. I guess only your master can help us out, now." "Yes." Sui Weisheng nodded. "And also, I think it's time to bring some changes in our clan." Sui Rong announced another astonishing thing. "Get ready to take the reins." Meanwhile, inside the helicopter, Mark was looking at the notifications. "Ding! You successfully completed emergency quest. A 2 free stat point card has been sent to the inventory. Open inventory." Mark clicked on the card from the inventory. It was rainbow in color with a number 2 written on it. "Ding! Please distribute the stat points." The character screen opened before him with plus symbols beside the stats. "Here we go." Mark clicked on plus 2 times. "Ding! Intelligence stat is increased by 1 point. Ding! You can make a breakthrough to rank 2. Ding! Intelligence stat is increased by 1 point. Ding! You can make a breakthrough to rank 3. Mark proceeded with yes, and a series of notifications appeared one after another. Ding! Congratulations on reaching rank 2. Ding! You completed main quest II. You received 1,000 credits as a reward. Ding! You received a new main quest. Ding! You received a new summon, Thunder Eagle. Ding! Your share in the purchases of system-created weapons has been increased from 20% to 30%. Ding! Congratulations on reaching rank 3. Ding! You completed main quest II. You received 2,000 credits as a reward. Ding! You received a new main quest. Ding! You received a new summon, Thunder Lion. Ding! Your share in the purchases of system-created weapons has been increased from 30% to 40%. 40% share and 3,000 credits, cool. Mark let out a wide smile as he proceeded to open his character stats, followed by his pet inventory. Name, Lu Zhen, Mark Spencer. Rank, 3. Strength, 0.4. Intelligence, 3.1. Defense, 0.5. Agility, 0.3. Vitality, 1.0. Resistance, 0.1. Charisma, 7.3. Luck, 3. Bloodline, not applicable. Attribute, lightning. Spirit path, summoner. Ether quality, low. Ether energy, 18. Special skills, ultimate defense I, ultimate defense 2. Assistance, 2, Alan Spencer, Alina Spencer. Lifespan limit, 110, 85 years left. Available credits, 3904. Net worth, 132,964 gold coins, 31 silver coins. Total debt, 30,433 gold coins, 1774 ether crystals, low. Inventory, 100 to 120 mm ammunition, 100 to 40 mm grenades, 1000 to 12.7 mm ammunition, 1000 to 30 mm ammunition, 5000 to 20 mm ammunition, 10 Mistral missiles, 50 Hydra 70 rockets, 20 Hellfire missiles, 1562 to 9 mm bullets, 221 single-shot pistols, 174 revolvers, 61 semi-automatic gun, 10 rounds, 35 semi-automatic gun, 20 rounds, 2 shotguns, Battle Tank V, Platinum grade, Ruby Bloodworm Steel Sword, Gold grade, Rusty Ring, Fire Wolf Backralt Steel Sword, Gold grade, Lottery Pick Ticket, 1 Strength Potion, Basic, 3 Intelligence Pills, Basic, 12 Advancement Pills, Intermediate. Chapter 88, Big Brother, do you want to? Quest List. Main Quest I, sell a total of 1,000 firearms. In progress 79.2%. Reward, Bolt Action Rifle, Lever Action Rifle, and Semi-Automatic Rifle. Main Quest 2, become rank 4. Reward, Host's share increases to 50% permanently, 4,000 credits. Side Quests. Side Quest I, earn a total of 100,000 gold coins from selling the weapons created by the system excluding the bullets and ammunition, in progress 3.9%. Reward, Ether Pistol. Side Quest 2, sell exclusive weapons to 10 different people, in progress 310. Reward, C4. Side Quest 3, spend a total of 5,000 credits, in progress 52%. Rewards, Exchange Panel, currency to credits and vice versa. Mark wanted to go on a shopping spree to buy the remaining 7 basic intelligence pills, spending 3,500 credits. With a total of 10 basic intelligence pills, he could make a breakthrough, but he resisted the urge after reading the details of his summons. With the amount of ether energy points that he currently had, he couldn't even summon them. That's why he felt like his next goal should be absorbing ether crystals and raising his ether energy. Thankfully, for him, he extorted enough money to buy them from the market. However, he didn't save those credits either. After all, he needs to complete the third side quest and make use of the money that he earned from extortion or selling other items like the corpses of the beasts, traditional weapons, and other miscellaneous items. Open System Store. He directly went to the accessory section. He grinned as he clicked at a silver ring. I guess it's time to remove my bad luck, once and for all. Ding! You purchased Ring of Luck, silver. 3,000 credits have been deducted. Ding! You successfully completed Side Quest 3. The currency exchange panel has been unlocked. Ding! You received a new side quest. Side Quest 3, spend a total of 50,000 credits, In progress 0%. Reward, Statue of Vel'Khazar. System, what is this reward? Who is Vel'Khazar? Ding! Vel'Khazar, the personal mount of the wandering god, is the divine dragon that frequently bestows fortunes on its believers. Once a week, pray to the statue of Vel'Khazar and receive one random present, which can be an item, currency, credits, crystals, weapons, skills, etc. Oh, that's cool. His eyes lit up in excitement. He didn't understand who this wandering god was or why he had to pray to some monster, but either way, he was getting free rewards. That's more than enough for him. Now that the exchange panel is opened, it will be easier to complete the quest. I wonder how much the exchange rate will be like. But, before that, let's equip the ring. Ring of Luck, bound. Grade, Silver. Description: upon wearing the ring, your luck stat improves by 2 points. Skill, absorb a maximum of 4 points of luck from the target. CD, 12 hours. Mark took out a ring from the inventory. It was made of silver. He wore it right away on his right index finger. However, the system sent him a notification that had a bad piece of news. Ding! Effects of the two accessories of the same type cannot be stacked upon each other. The effect of Ring of Luck, copper, was nullified. Ah, fuck! Mark punched the window in frustration. He expected that he can use both of them and maximize his luck to acquire the rewards from the lottery, but now, his plan failed. Okay, 80% of luck is also not bad. Mark could only hope that he acquire something in the next draw. Ding! You dismantled the copper ring. You receive 5 credits. Sigh. I bought it for 500 credits and dismantled it for 5 credits. What a fair exchange. Mark was annoyed by this rule. However, the system also had a befitting reply ready. Ding! This is why the host should be careful when buying things. Scams are happening across the world because of ignorance and greed. Mark. Letting out another sigh, he thought about opening the exchange system. The result was pretty much to his expectations. 5 gold coins can be exchanged for 1 credit and vice versa. Mark was tempted to exchange 100k gold for 20k credits but controlled himself and closed the screen. After a 30-minute flight, Alina landed the helicopter somewhere in the wilderness. She stepped down and let Mark get onto the pilot seat. It was only then he realized that there was only 1 seat available in the front. Damn, how could I forget about that? As Mark scolded himself for being an idiot, Alina opened her mouth. I have a suggestion, big brother. Him? He looked at her curiously. Half a minute later, as Alina closed the door, Mark looked at his situation. I don't think this would work. Fuck, it's so hot here. Alina was comfortably sitting on his lap with her body facing the door and her arms around her master, raising the temperature in Mark's body. His ears turned red, feeling her soft skin. He knew that she isn't a human and even got familiar with her presence. However, such physical intimacy is entirely different. Mark couldn't help but go into wild fantasy for a moment. When he realized it, he hurriedly shook his head and threw the thoughts away while scolding himself. Not even 10 seconds passed, Mark hurriedly stood up from the seat and got down from the helicopter, embarrassedly covering down below. He returned to the back chamber and said on the embassy, "There's no need for me to learn how to fly this thing. Either you or Alan can do that for me." He took out a pot and a glass from his inventory and started to drink water. Alina tilts her head in confusion. Then, as she connected to his mind through telepathy, realization dawned upon her. "Big brother, do you want to have sex with me in the vehicle?" Mark spit the water and started to cough heavily. He couldn't help but scream at her in embarrassment, "Hey, don't spout nonsense. Fly." She didn't understand why her master is acting weirdly. Putting the thoughts away, she grabbed the controls and started flying the helicopter. With so much amount of money in his hands, Mark thought that he had enough adventures and decided to return home, skipping the cities of Tinghe and Xinfang. Genesis Store, Hangar District, Imperial City. Inside the store, there was a customer who handed Alan 35 gold coins, buying 100 bullets and one semi-automatic gun, P365. Thank you for the business. Please come by again. Alan took the money and handed him the box with the goods. Taking it, the man asked, I don't see the owner anywhere. Do you know his whereabouts? I have no idea. All I know is that he's alive. Alan shook his head. I see. The man nodded and turned around. Alan escorted him to the outside. As the man left his sight, Alan let out a sigh. Big brother, when are you going to return? It's been several days since the abrupt disappearance of Mark. He was missing this one and only master of his. After his rank was upgraded by the upgrade crystals, Alan was going through a phase where he was dealing with a couple of emotions like sadness and happiness. The only one that can explain him is Mark. As he wasn't available, Alan opened up to Lin Shui quite a bit, taking the initiative to ask a few questions like a child. Lin Shui was surprised at first but then felt amusing as the time passed. She no longer looked at Alan like he was only a sparring partner. She even thinks of him as her friend. It's just a few days but, through Lin Shui's help, Alan no longer answered everything that was asked of him, despite possessing the knowledge. It's not at the stage where he perfectly understood what to say and what shouldn't, in all types of situations. Still, at the present stage, he could fit in any normal human society on his own. At around 8 o'clock, he closed down the shutter and locked it before starting to run in the streets and jumping on roofs. Within 15 minutes, he reached Lin Clan's mansion. There, he saw Lin Shui was looking at a pocket watch. Lady Lin. He greeted her. 8:17 Lin Shui let out a smile and commented, It's quite amazing that you managed to come here for the past 3 days, at the exact same time. Alan replied with a smile, Thanks for waiting. Lin Shui blushed for a second before she turned around to walk toward the dueling platform. Let's get started. Chapter 89.1 The Crown Prince's Conspiracy Against Mark, Part 1. Lin Mansion, Imperial City. Alan was seriously sparring with Lin Shui, who was covered by sparks of lightning. As the former upgraded a rank, his strength increased. So, a 4-circle realm swordmaster like Lin Shui couldn't defeat him, but she was also managing on her own through the newfound power of lightning, not only making her movements fast but even her attack was also as strong as a peak stage 4-circle realm expert. Alan and Lin Shui's swords clashed for the umpteenth time. Alan suddenly kicked the ground and leaped back, exiting the dueling platform. Lady Lin, the sparring hours are over, I need to get back to the store. As he turned around and walked away, Lin Shui took out her pocket watch again, 11:18. Exactly 3 hours. Just how punctual is this guy? She couldn't help but stare at his back until he disappeared from her sight. By running on the streets and jumping on the roofs, Alan returns to the store. However, to his surprise, the shutter was opened. Someone broke in? Alan's eyes turned cold as if he intended to kill the culprit before something else clicked in his head. Is it Big Brother? He rushed towards the store. As he reached the entrance, he saw Mark was sitting there in his original spot, but to his surprise, there was a stranger who was leaning on the wall and is reading a novel. He ignored her and greeted his master. Big Brother, you are finally back. Alan, it's good to see you too. Mark let out a smile. He felt as if he saw his younger brother after a while. What have you been up to these days? After Alan enthusiastically reported to him his new experiences, Mark introduced Alina to him. 2 days later, Imperial Palace. In the courtroom, the 6 ministers, officials of the 3 departments and 6 ministries, Chief Eunuch, Grand Secretariat, the 3rd Prince, the Crown Prince, and a few scholars were standing before him in 2 sections. Grand Secretary Li, you can start the proceedings of the court, spoke the Emperor after taking his seat on the throne. He looked majestic and his voice contained charisma. As for his physical traits, one can say he and the 2nd Prince resemble each other a lot, except for the obvious age difference. The Grand Secretariat of the Empire ranks 3rd, after the Emperor and the Supreme Commander, and oversees all the 3 departments and the 6 ministries. One can say he's the most influential politician within the empire. It's ironic that a commoner that every noble looks down on had the power to step on all these major clans at any time. It's not that Lu Zhen works hard and schemes against the people to get to this position. It's just that the emperor wanted the Grand Secretariat to be neutral. This is the reason a commoner working as an official in the Central Secretariat was suddenly promoted to the highest position in politics by the previous Grand Secretariat. And later, when he decides to step down, Lu Zhen should also choose a commoner as his successor. It has been this way in the past ruling of the Shang dynasty for nearly 600 years, and the current emperor hoped it would be this way in the future. Lu Zhen stepped forward and bowed as he informed, "Your Majesty, Royal Inspectors Yang Huan and Wang Bo are here to report about the matter which has importance." The emperor nodded, "Let them in." The two investigating officers entered the courtroom and stood before the emperor. As they greet him, the latter asked, "What is it that you want to report? And who commissioned the two of you?" Before they gave an answer, the Crown Prince Shang had interrupted, "It's me, Your Majesty. I sent them to investigate a person named Lu Zhen, who runs a small weapons store in the Hangar district and is the one behind the demolition of the Song clan's mansion and is responsible for former Minister Song Yun's deep sleep state. The most interesting thing about him is that he sells unique weapons called firearms. As for who makes them, it's still unclear, but we suspect it is the dwarfs." As Shang Zishi took out a single-shot pistol from his inventory and showed it to his father, the latter's eyes lit up for a second. The emperor appeared to be curious as he had never seen such a thing in his life. "Continue." He pointed to the crown prince, instead of the inspectors, making them wonder why they are even there for. "To become decorations?" The crown prince continued, "A few weeks ago, this man named Lu Zhen had a conflict with Song Yun and injured the latter because of baseless reasons like a security check. Song Yun's daughter, Song Yu, stopped the prefects to put the matter to rest because she was rescued by him when she was abducted by some people from the Shu sect. The reason for her abduction is unknown, and unfortunately, the only culprit that was alive ended up dead in the prison due to the torture." Shu sect. The emperor's facial expression changed within a second. The others who are unaware of the matter looked at each other and started to murmur. Meanwhile, the crown prince continued, "Yes, Your Majesty. It's the same Shu sect, which was banished from our empire. Now, the strangest thing here is that just a week before this incident, 3 members of the Shu sect tried to ambush Prince Wei during his trip to the Blood Hill Forest. Judging by the 2 incidents, it perfectly makes sense if Lu Zhen is a member of the Shu sect. When the secret ambush failed, he attacked Song Yun but didn't kill him because he was afraid that the Imperial Palace will not leave him. As for rescuing Song Yu, he probably wanted to win her trust, and he also successfully managed to do that too. Not only did he save himself from the trial, he even managed to break the relationship between Song Yu and Zhong Kong. What's more, he's listed on the watching list, and it is confirmed that Commander Bai personally made a visit and informed him. And yet, he successfully slipped past our spies and escaped the Imperial City without an escort. You cannot twist the facts to your convenience with half-truths and half-lies, Crown Prince Zishi. A voice was heard from the left, interrupting an imaginative novel that he was narrating. Everyone turned towards the third prince. "Your Majesty, forgive me for interrupting, but I don't want to waste the time of the court with such nonsense things spouted by the crown prince." "You!" Shang Zishi clenched his fist in anger, but he controlled it because of the place he was standing at. The other spectators who are in favor of the third prince felt excited. After all, whenever the third prince opens his mouth, the emperor gets impressed and the crown prince will only get humiliated. Meanwhile, the emperor was calm as he said, "State your opinion, Prince Wei." Shang Wei bowed and thanked him. Before he stared at the crown prince, "You are narrating a good tale, but judgments won't be made from speculations. We need solid evidence to prove that Lu Zhen is a criminal of the state. And if I'm right, aren't you the one that's responsible to watch him? What are your subordinates doing when Lu Zhen left the city? What kind of subordinates did you deploy? How can a crown prince, the next king of the Phoenix Empire, be this irresponsible? Secondly, The Crown Prince needed to get facts right. Song Yun was injured by the attack of a unique weapon that we aren't aware of. It's not the direct attack of Lu Zhen. Thirdly, the Crown Prince needs to be reminded of the Constitution. Whatever happened at the Song clan mansion didn't implicit the whole clan and is just between Lu Zhen and Song Yun. It is entirely their personal business, and even the Emperor doesn't have the right to interfere unless the Song Yun's immediate family requests to. Song Yun's wife and daughter were clearly against it. How could you forget it? Several nobles, including yourself, allegedly used such a rule to your advantage and saved yourselves from the trial. However, the Song clan's mansion still belonged to the Song clan. So, the current Minister Song can press the charges against him for damaging the property. Fourth and final, Song Yu and Zhong Kong's engagement was broken because of the Zhong clan. Isn't it all because the Zhong clan now had an Exalt realm expert, 7th Circle, and looks down on Song clan? After hearing the counterargument from the third prince, everyone stared at the Crown Prince, who appeared a bit angry. Originally, the third prince doesn't want to defend Lu Zhen because of Lin Xue's closeness with Alan. However, more than loving Lin Xue, he hates this eldest brother of him who sent assassins after him so many times. In fact, before the prisoner dead, he already found out that the Crown Prince is behind the ambush at Blood Hill Forest. However, before Shang Wei gets to reveal it to the public, the prisoner of the Shu sect, the bald monk, was assassinated, possibly by the men of the Crown Prince. Putting everything on Lu Zhen will close this matter, and the Crown Prince will escape without any investigations. So, despite disliking Lu Zhen, he still tried to defend him in court from all the accusations. But it was then he saw the Crown Prince's lips curled up with a sneer before the latter spoke in a bit of loud tone, as if he was announcing something important. "I knew that you keep trying to shut me down in whatever I say, just like every time, but today is different, Prince Wei." He turned towards the Emperor and bowed and pointed at his two subordinates. "Your Majesty, the royal inspectors will reveal their investigation results regarding Lu Zhen's atrocities against the nobles." Chapter 90.2, The Crown Prince's Conspiracy Against Mark, Part 2. The whole courtroom went silent as the two royal inspectors reported everything in detail, starting from the town of Maxong, where the Meng clan was extorted, to the city of Shangwan, where the Sui clan's mansion and the city prison tower was decimated. The third prince finally understood why this eldest brother of his was trying to drag Lu Zhen into this mess. It's because the weapon store owner indeed caused a mess and can be considered a criminal. So, the Crown Prince was putting all the other crimes onto him, so that he may escape from any kind of interrogation. Perhaps, the Crown Prince Shang Zishi would later kill Lu Zhen in the prison and erase this matter for good. Shang Wei saw the Emperor's facial expression also change to that of a frown. Indeed, he was displeased by the actions of Lu Zhen. But, at the same time, defeating the Sui clan's Grand Elder with such ease isn't a simple feat. Wait a second. Defeating Sui Rong with a flying weapon? The third prince felt a bad premonition. Just like he feared, the Crown Prince threw his dice. "Your Majesty, Prince Wei said that attacking Song Yun out of conflict is their personal business." Then, what about the Sui clan? Moreover, the weapons that attacked Song Yun and Sui Rong are different. The latter was much powerful. Can such powerful weapons be possessed by an owner of a small weapon store in an alley? At first, I assumed that he's a spy from the Northern Empires who came here with nefarious intentions. But, according to our investigations, he's born and raised here. And until a couple of months ago, he seemed to be living the life of an average civilian, but all of a sudden, he possessed a wide variety of weapons, and a lethal one at that? How is it possible if someone isn't behind him? And there's also one question that bothers me. How did Lu Zhen know that Song Yu was abducted in the first place? How did he save her at the exact spot where a member of the Shu sect is waiting for the two abductors? After all, he was going towards his home. And Hang'e district is far away from the lake. These questions are yet to be answered. Only Lu Zhen can give it. But, let's assume that it's a pure coincidence and he has nothing to do with the Shu sect or the Northern Empire or any kind of hostile forces. But, even then, we need to put him on trial and formally investigate the origins of his unique weapons. We need to know who the one that manufactures them is. Is it really the dwarfs, or is there any other hidden entity that we don't know? And there's that powerful weapon. A unique weapon that can fly and injure an Exalt realm expert like Sui Rong, who was even in an advanced stage. I believe such a weapon is useful for the Empire, and you should be the one that possesses it. The Crown Prince turned around the game, not only framing Mark as a criminal but also trying to influence the Emperor with greed for power. Seeing that the Emperor is actually considering it, the Grand Secretariat then hurriedly voiced out his opinion. Your Majesty, whatever weapons this Lu Zhen has, it's considered his personal property. The Imperial Palace doesn't have the right to confiscate them, just because it is powerful. Who said about confiscating, Grand Secretariat Li? The Crown Prince appeared to be fully prepared to go all out and gave befitting replies to everyone that tries to come in his way. If it's a weapon, then we can buy it. If it is soulbound, then we can contact the Heavens sect to get rid of the binding. If Lu Zhen is the citizen of the Empire and is loyal to the throne, then he should have no problem selling it to us. We can even pardon his crimes for his service to the Empire. Pardon? The third prince fell into thoughts, once again. He couldn't understand the intentions of the Crown Prince. First, he frames Lu Zhen, then, he talks about the might of the weapon, then, he says about acquiring it. Is his real goal the flying weapon that he mentioned? Perhaps he was looking for the manufacturer behind it and wanted to force it out from Lu Zhen? The third prince wondered. However, the Crown Prince didn't end there. Now that the matter with Lu Zhen settled, he felt like he needed to crush this brother of his, too. He wanted to hit all of his targets at once with a single arrow. Your Majesty, now, let me clarify about the other statements that I made. Prince Wei said that I twisted some of the facts with half-truths. He said that I let Lu Zhen get away from the Imperial City and I was irresponsible. While Lu Zhen indeed get away without alarming us, but I was the one who managed to track them down at Maxong Town. These two royal inspectors are the perfect examples. He pointed at them and said, on my orders, they followed Lu Zhen and his servant in secret and investigated everything. As the royal inspectors bowed nervously because they knew that wasn't the complete truth, he continued, as for the so-called constitution, we have Minister Song here. Song Chang recently assumed the position of the Minister of Public Works as well as the head of the clan. A clan head has the right to think about the well-being of the clan members. And he has the power to override the decisions of all of the clan members. So, even if the immediate family refuses to prosecute the accused, the clan head can nullify the decision, and Minister Song now had decided to prosecute Lu Zhen and bring him to the trial. As he pointed to the middle-aged man, the latter came forward and bowed. Your Majesty, Song Yun was a paternal cousin of mine, but we are closer than biological siblings. I want justice for Song Yun and the other 5 clan members who ended up as casualties. The third prince's face darkened and felt the gazes of the people around him. He indeed made a blunder. Meanwhile, the Crown Prince continued as he pointed to a tall and thin man who was half bald on the front but has a thick and long braid in the back. Minister Zhong will explain the reason behind the annulment of the engagement between Song Yu and Zhong Kong. The Minister of Justice stepped forward and bowed. Your Majesty, we don't want that bastard. Excuse me, I mean Lu Zhen did to Song Yu, but her visits to his store were too frequent. And according to my son's statement, Song Yu kept on praising Lu Zhen's appearance as if she was infatuated. How could she talk about a stranger in front of her future husband? Even after her father was sent into a deep sleep, she requested not to prosecute. It isn't anything but ordinary, Your Majesty. We have the laws of adultery only for married couples. So, there's nothing that can be done about her. The relationship between them is bound to be broken. It was a pure coincidence that my grandfather entered the Seven Circle realm. Prince Wei was trying to save the image of his friend. It was Shang Wei's turn to clench his fist in anger. Lu Zhen was nobody to him and is even an annoyance. If the Crown Prince wanted his flying weapon or whatever, it wouldn't matter, but Song Yu was different. She is not only his friend but was also like a sister. He wanted to punch his brother right in the face but controlled his emotions upon remembering that he was in the courtroom. With a smile on his face, the Crown Prince announced the list of charges. Hence, it's proved that Lu Zhen is indeed guilty. Your Majesty, I request a formal arrest for Lu Zhen and bring him to a trial for the following crimes. The attack on Song Yun, the 5 deaths of the Song clan members, 4 deaths of Meng clan, 11 deaths of Chen clan, 6 deaths of Lei clan, 13 deaths of Sui clan, the death of 74 prisoners, 8 security personnel, the property destruction of Song clan and Sui clan, extortion of 10,000 gold coins from Meng clan, 10,000 gold coins from Chen clan, 10,000 gold coins from Lei clan, 100,000 gold coins from Sui clan, alleged relations with Shu sect, and alleged relations with hostile organizations to the empire. The officials in the court were silent. The ministers from Nai clan, Song clan, and Zhong clan were smiling lightly. The third prince was boiling in anger, and the emperor had a deep frown on his face. He stared at the third prince. Do you want to say anything, Prince Wei? Taking a deep breath, the third prince answered, a criminal will have to be punished, regardless of his or her status. However, if Lu Zhen turned innocent, then the crown prince will be obligated to apologize not only to the prosecuted parties but also to the court officials for misleading the situation. And one more thing, Your Majesty. I would like to prosecute Minister Zhong for spouting lies in the Sacred Hall of Judgment without any remorse for his actions. Along with him, his son should also be judged. If proven guilty, then he'll have to resign from his post, and if he turns innocent, I will be obligated to not only apologize to him but will also resign from my post. Shang Wei cupped his fists and bowed to the emperor, adding a final request, I call for a public trial. The third prince's sudden move indeed surprised everyone, including even his father. The crown prince mumbled to himself, so, you are finally declaring a war against me, here. After a brief silence, the emperor opened his mouth, very well.